So everybody's heard of Amy Schumer. She has been on quite the whirlwind rise up the comedian ladder. In the last 2 years, her career has spawned several stand-up specials, including one on HBO, which is such a coveted thing for a comedian. I'm not sure if you're all aware. It's a big deal. So the fact that she got it, way cool. And she is this really funny girl, and she's so good at what she does, or at least she was, until a lot of speculations of her stealing jokes from other comedians had started coming up, in which I was adding to, because the moment I saw Amy Schumer steal one of my favorite jokes from one of my favorite stand-up comedians, I got really upset because I hadn't seen someone as brash and bold as Amy Schumer in her mostly sex stuff stand-up comedy tour that aired on Comedy Central over a year and a half ago. It was brilliant. She also had the Inside Amy Schumer going at the same time before it was well known. I'm telling you, the stuff was comedy gold. It's like this girl couldn't not be funny. She was so good at what she was doing. And then after I saw her lift that joke, I was so pissed because it made me question if anything she had done was genuinely hers, or if she was just the pretty face portraying everybody else's material. It's also just been really frustrating for me lately to watch the trajectory her career has taken on, seeing her befriend Jennifer Lawrence and them kind of both parading their best friendship all over the place, which, cool, good for you. You guys would seem like two awesome girls to hang out with. Like, I'd have a blast with you chicks individually. However, put them together and it's like it's made Jennifer Lawrence this arrogant, ego-driven A-list actress who's trying to like boldly use comedy as her frontrunner when she needs to stay humble, especially now. And then you have Amy Schumer, who's getting way too bravado-y over the fact she has an A-list movie star for a best friend. I think her jokes are starting to fall to the wayside and she's becoming cocky and arrogant herself. I'm seeing bad traits come out of both of these two people, and it's driving me crazy because I loved them both. Honestly, I hadn't really loved any comedian as much as Amy Schumer since, God, probably Sarah Silverman. Don't get me wrong, I have plenty of newer comedians that I thoroughly enjoy, people who came out around the same time as Amy Schumer. Hannibal Buress is really funny. I love Key and Peele. And then the two girls from Broad City, Alana and Abby, I think they're hilarious. However, they're supporting Hillary Clinton. We'll move on. Hello, you're from Brooklyn. Support Brooklyn's own Bernie. Hashtag feel the burn. Come on. So it seems to me that the real trouble started for Amy the moment this HBO special aired, because all eyes were on it. I mean, you couldn't walk down a goddamn street in a major city without seeing a billboard or a bus that was promoting it. It was insane. I could not understand the publicity she was getting. I mean, good for her for getting there, but if all of this is true and she got there as a shady comedian, then she's going to fall just as fast, and I'm pretty sure she's aware of that, so she needs to, like, figure this shit out. After that special had aired, then all of a sudden it was almost like an onslaught of comedians came out after her. First, she had 3 other female comedians openly blasting her on Twitter, calling her out for lifting their jokes and using them in the special. Those 3 women were Kathleen Madigan, Wendy Liebman, and Tammy Pescatelli, which I love saying all 3 of those names. It's very either like Jersey or Long Island, right? Like, Tammy Pescatelli! Right? Like, Ma, where's the toilet paper? Okay, I'm not trying to be funny. Calm down. Anywho, I love East Coast style of comedy. Obviously, it exudes from their pores. You can hear it in their voices. They're really funny. They're brash. You should look them up on YouTube. Hilarious and worth your time. Then, after those 3 women went public on Twitter, openly calling out Amy for stealing their jokes, people came after her for stealing Patrice O'Neal's jokes to end the show. 2 jokes that were about sexual situations that she barely even used any effort to change what the joke was. I mean, that's the thing. If you're really talking about a comedian lifting a joke, you have to weigh, are they being inspired from another comedian's story and they think they can tell it differently, and they put the effort into their story to make it more personal, or are they just doing what Amy did and flat out lifting it and then changing, like, the title of the sex act? I mean, it's so blatant. It's almost like she did it to see if people would call her out. Now, these things have happened. I'm sure all eyes will be on Amy for her next special, along with when her Inside Amy Schumer show comes back, because she's going to have a lot of critics now who watch her material, and I'm sure she's well aware. It probably makes her nervous. I know she has her sister co-writing a lot of stuff with her, and I feel like as a partner, a sister bond would probably be super helpful in trying to keep you calm and figure out new material, because if she ever lifts a joke again, she's going to get, like, roasted. I mean, it's going to be awful. But all of that to say, I figured out she was lifting jokes well before any of this even happened, well before her HBO special. And I want to include one of those in my video today. I'm going to play a clip of the original person who needs to be given the credit for the joke, because the first time I saw it when I was a teenager, I cried so hard laughing that it made me realize comedy is where I want to be. It made me realize that being a goofball and having all of my eccentricities is actually a really cool, unique thing, and I wanted to embrace them. And slowly and surely I learned how to, and I'm still doing that every day, so calm down, don't clap back. However, I'm going to play that clip, and then I'm going to follow it up with what Amy Schumer did and the audacity she had to perform it where she did. So, without further ado, here is the clip, and let's talk afterwards and see what you think.
And only in the darkness of a movie theater do we not feel guilty about eating a 3-pound box of snow caps. We stock up on popcorn and candy like we're crossing the Sierras, don't we? You have any venison or hardtack or anything like that? All right, I'll have a couple of soft pretzels, a hot dog, Milk Duds, Jujubes. Is that the largest popcorn, that bucket? You don't have a barrel or anything like that? You have a donkey or a pack mule or anything? Oh, and a Diet Coke. And something about the darkness, we just lose all of our inhibitions in the darkness. Is the popcorn really that delicious we must shovel handfuls of it into our mouth?
I look like I've been feeding, and I'm eating popcorn the way I think we all eat popcorn, which is, you know, at first you always kind of start out kind of like lying to yourself, like, like one piece at a time, you know, and then like you get a little more real, right? And then eventually you just like, you get real, and it's just, like I've split my lip trying to get one more kernel. It's true. In my dumb mouth. It's true. And so that's what happened. If you Google me, it's me. Do you eat popcorn like that, though? Are you a popcorn lover?
Yeah, I do. And I eat it exactly like that.
Right?
Yes.
And that's why I'm so annoyed. I'm single again, so I'm going to have to start dating some guy, and we'll go to the movies, and he'll be like, do you want to get popcorn? And I have to be like, oh, I hadn't even thought about it. He's like, what size? And I'm like, small, look at me. Right? Like a small pot, that's like taking one Advil, like get out of here. I want a trough, and I want to dunk my head in it, and then, you know, I'll be pretending not to think about the popcorn.
Hilarious. So when you...
I know! Can you believe she, like, legit, flat out stole the joke verbatim and used it in front of her on her own show, on her platform? Like, oh my god. I was watching Ellen's face that whole time, and I swear to god, Ellen's just like, are you fucking with me? Like, you know this is my joke, right? Like, Ellen legit wrote down that joke in her little joke book journal, because she talks about how she puts in a lot of effort to write out her jokes. They're very personal. They're her life. She doesn't do bits, really. So Amy Schumer flat out lifting the fuck out of this joke is so insulting. How it's never been brought up is beyond me. Ellen is far more humble than any comedian I know because she just let that slide, and I'm sure it's because Ellen has her own platform and she's very successful, and she used comedy to further herself and have a larger voice, and good for her. But wow, I think comedians need to keep other comedians in check. I mean, honestly, artists all alike, but especially comedians, need to be held to a high standard. They're the people you're supposed to get the truth from. They try to make it a joke, you're supposed to laugh. If you don't, oh well. You know, sometimes the truth isn't all that funny. Sometimes it just needs to be said. If you look back in humanity's past, comedians are the people who help progress thought, challenge authority, and really get the people's voice out into the public. It's comedians putting social injustices into jokes that is really furthering discussions. Remember that when you try to censor somebody because what they're saying is offending you. Maybe you should be offended, because maybe how you view things is offensive to others. I don't think we should be so quick to shut each other up all the time. Comedians need to stop apologizing if they believe in what they said. Honestly, I cannot fathom ever speaking my truth and trying to get it through as a joke and then apologizing for the way it came off. Unless I did something so blatantly uncalled for, speaking your truth never deserves an apology. If you're being an asshole just to be one, then yeah, you warrant the feedback you're gonna get. Whatever you put out there, you're gonna get back. But if you're putting the truth out there and people are uncomfortable hearing it, well, that's just too bad. 'Cause really, what would we rather live in? An honest world where we see the problems and try to deal with them for what they are as much as it hurts the people involved? Or do we want to be a society that pretends those problems don't exist? Because they're still gonna exist. It's just we ignore them and pretend that we can walk by them and they'll fix themselves. So I guess I'm just not willing to pretend my life is like a TV show. I want to live my life, and I want to live it honestly. And I encourage everybody else to do the same. If you hurt feelings, well, it's going to happen. Try to explain yourself the best you can, and don't go out with the intention to hurt feelings. Just know that some people are going to be offended by your message. I also just think it's really shitty that Amy Schumer's stance on this is to flat out deny the fact she's using other people's material. She has so many people coming after her. She has blatant proof right here that she has. And she seems unapologetic about it, which really sucks, because if she was just like, shit, maybe subconsciously I was fucking using stuff that inspired me. Her and Patrice used to work on a radio show together. They were very close friends. She knows him well. She can't pretend she doesn't know his material, and yet she does pretend she doesn't know it. And then the women on Twitter complaining that she was using their jokes. They were forced to delete the tweets, and Amy Schumer blocked them. Why? If you didn't do it, say you didn't do it. Say you didn't do it, but oh my god, your jokes are so funny. Shit. I'm sorry mine sounds so alike. I want you to have credit. Let's share the credit in calling out this dumb bullshit, right? I mean, honestly, how are you going to take the stance that you didn't steal when you flat out stole? It's weird. If you would just say, oh shit, our shit is similar, but mine's based on this experience in my life, explain it, you know? People want a reason. You don't have to explain it, but you choosing not to makes you look super guilty, and she knows that. But whatever, every comedian runs into a situation where if you're just using surface material and it doesn't really reference any specific part of your life, you're coasting on the fact that you might bump into another comedian's material. And if that comedian is lesser known than you and you get the bigger platform, it isn't fair to have their joke in your act when their joke is their act and people go to them and say, you stole from the bigger comedian, because that's not how it worked. And the bigger comedians know that. They just have the advantage. So let's not let Amy Schumer become Carlos Mencia. We really need good comedians, and I love that she is a ballsy, funny woman. I want to support her. I just think she needs to check her ego and handle this joke-stealing fiasco seriously. Just snuff it, you know? Don't say you didn't do it when it's clear you did. Give a reason why it would or could have happened, and that's all you have to do. Be polite, be humble, and people will like you. If you're going to keep acting like an asshole who doesn't deserve to be questioned, people are going to stop filling those seats. Ask Dane Cook. Anyway, alright, I hope you guys are having a fun and fabulous day. I'll clap back at y'all tomorrow. Keep laughing, right? Let's keep laughing.